Love and immunity, beloveds, coming to you guys all this morning with a Sunday morning testament to life, you and I. On one of my videos, I called out the government and the churches. And one thing about me is I stand one under law, natural law. And this natural law is something that each and every one of us, being the human being, must all be under one accord. So today what I'm doing is I'm calling out to all you pastors, your preachers, you organizations, each one of us all wanting the same thing. And what if I can help you help humanity? You help each and every one of us, each one teach one. What if I can show us how to understand I and my Father are one? What if I can show you that everything was already ordained to each and every one of us because we are the body of this one law, this one natural law? Would you reach out? Would you reach out to me? Would you come to me and ask me to do a presentation for you in your church, you in your organization, you in your whatever? One thing about me is that I'm not here for myself. I didn't come here as myself. I came here one under this law, and this one law is this body. Each and every one of us all one under this same law. But we've taken this law and we've taken it outside of its own understanding. And because of that, we are all held responsible and accountable for everything that takes place before this body. Each and every one of us, we may believe that we're an organization, we may believe that we're religion, we may believe that we're the government, but before all those things were ever created, we were one under this law. I and my Father are one. And what if I can help you understand this? What if I can teach each and every one of us under one accord, where we can understand that we have been unconscious, that we have been blinded by our own natural law. And this law could awaken us all to this one thing, and that's well-being. And I need for you guys to share this video. I know you're out. This is what we've been taught. We've been taught to be out for ourselves. And a lot of you don't realize that when you're just out for yourselves, others will suffer because of it. And this is why we have religion against other religions. We have races against other races. We have politicians against other politicians. But at the end of the day, the one thing that we are seeking, I and my Father are one, or we are seeking well-being. What if I can show each and every one of us that this one thing called well-being is consciousness? What if I can show you and you how to teach other people? If you are a pastor, if you are the government, if you are an organization that has the ability right now to consciously reach people, and you have not done this, you have not done your will for humanity, number one, this one living body, kingdom of heaven on earth, and you have not done your will of being the disciples of the ministry that you have been trying to lead. So I would ask that each and every one of you share this message. I'm not here to get famous. I'm not here to get rich. I'm not here to do anything but awaken that consciousness, that one thing. I and my Father are one, in each and every one of us, a natural law of life. And when we came under this understanding, right now we all have the ability to start healing each other under this one natural law. We all have the ability right now to start awakening each other under this one natural law. If you really want to know how the devil gets us and how we're blinded from this one living truth, which is natural law or God's mind is over matter, then you have to realize that common sense is something that we have never been taught. And I know this might offend many, and I know many might not want to follow, or many might not want to share, but your ability to be humble, to be righteous, is to really understand what this one natural law is. I and my Father are one. And I have the ability to teach us all under this one accord, where we can start uplifting humanity back into the well-being at the beginning and at the end of the day. What each and every one of us want, we want well-being. What is well-being? Well-being is health, well-being is sustainability, and well-being is accountability, to know that this one law, I and my Father are one, is going out and doing what it has already been ordained for it to do for this living kingdom called the body. And I want to show us, I want to reach out to pastors, I want to reach out to organizations, I want to reach out to anyone who is in a position to have a following, who has a leading, that they can reach humanity right now. I'm not here to cut you off. I'm not here to be better than you. I am here to be one with law, with my brothers and sisters of life, called the human body. And each and every one of us, under that one accord, we can take back this life. Right now, a lot of people are dying. A lot of people are fearing. And I want to show us how to use this law to start helping us come up out of this COVID-19. I want to start helping us understand that this law is one with each and every one of us, because we are its body, its living body of life. And what if I can help us become consciousness? A lot of people, you see it as whatever. How I can help you is to become one with God. I can help you manifest life, not money. Life is not money. Each and every one of us want to know why we're working for mammon, when this one consciousness, I and my Father are one, would do that for each and every one of us. This is how we change life. This is how we sustain life under one accord, beloved. And I, understanding life internally, that is my gift to the world. What I do is not to profit me. What I do is to profit you and I. That's what a prophet is. That's what a prophecy of life is. It's someone who will come in and they wouldn't look for life for themselves. They wouldn't look for them lives for organization. They wouldn't look for themselves for life for one thing outside of the one thing that came to give us life. And beloveds, the one thing that came to give each and every one of us life is this perfect body. And without this body, do you know that there's no life? What you don't realize is this body is under one law, and that one law is the blood. And I know a lot of you guys have seen my videos and you may want to pass them up, but this is something that I can help us all realize, that we are all under this one accord, and that's the body. And a lot of us don't realize that we have not been conscious to this body. And a lot of us don't realize that we have not been ordained to be conscious under this one state of being, each and every one of us being the human being. But the only thing that makes us human is that being. And I want to show you how to awaken that being. A lot of us may believe that we've already awakened it, but you haven't awakened the being, because the being says that I am one. How many of us is looking for that promised land? Well, the promised land is being one under that being. And I can help us all understand this one thing. And I'm asking you today, pastors, preachers, teachers, anyone who has a following, anyone that can reach out to the communities, anyone who has a pool, anyone who knows that they are under this one law and has not been doing righteous by it, by ensuring it for all. You can have a church. You can have an organization. You can reach a community in a little space. But this consciousness is one. And that consciousness, it requires one thing, and that's it's one mind, which is the law, to be under one accord with all other minds, which is the universal law of life called natural law. And I will help us understand this. And all I'm asking today is for you guys to reach out to me. I'm not here to tell you you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing right. But when we are not under this one law, when we are all separated, when we got something like a universal pandemic coming against us, beloveds, it's time for you to understand that this law is coming against itself universally. Why would something that created itself in the image of you, of itself? We are made in one perfect image of this one thing, and that's this consciousness, this mind, and this body, and the bloodline of life existence. And we don't have ownership of that. We don't even have conscious mind that it exists. How can you be a human, be in existence, and your existence as the living body is dying to life? How can you not really understand that none are under one well-being? What is well-being? Health. What is health? Health is a state of being and knowing at every present moment that this one consciousness called the body is healthy. It's living, it's prosperous, and it's sustained. None of us are sustained by this consciousness. We are being sustained by money, mammon. And mammon is the root to what we call evil. It's saying that I'm going to take this consciousness and I'm going to let you and the whole world know that you can only have that well-being by having money. And that's not true. This is how we've created sickness. And a lot of us don't really understand that sickness and everything is a state of being. Everything, being, human being. Right now, my state of being is taking my time in this consciousness under one accord and reaching out to the state of being of all consciousness, you, I, the living body of Christ, which is just consciousness, beloveds. And when we reach out under this one accord, we will awaken life within this body. And a lot of us don't know that we are the walking dead right now, beloveds. We are literally the walking dead. And we don't understand that we have been unconscious to this one law that would lead us all under this one accord to well-being. Each and every one of us right now afraid, fearing that we're going to get sick or that somebody is going to make us sick. But how does sickness become one in itself, beloveds? Has anyone ever questioned the truth? And Jesus stated this, the truth shall set us free. All day we question everything outside of us, but what makes sickness, beloveds? What creates well-being? What creates sustainability for the one thing that came to give us life in this body? What creates death? What creates health? There's one thing that creates all things. And because of this one thing not being present, not being the being of its own existence, we are now suffering. Each and every one of us. You might believe that you have it all because you have money, but money has robbed us from the promised land. And each and every one of us a descendant of that promised land, and not one of us of this generation has walked in that promised land. What if I can help us all get there? And under one accord, where we all could come together under one law, a natural law in which will sustain this body. And we all need this right now. We all, at the end and at the beginning, the one thing that each and every one of us is seeking is that well-being. And that well-being is under this one law. Not only does that well-being bring health, wealth, success, but it brings itself under this one law in which will go before each and every one of us. I send an angel before thee. Each and every morning we have the power to ordain our body to bring us one under God's perfect image. And that perfect image is this body. Each and every one of us under this one body of life. None of us different from this one body. It doesn't matter if we're race, sex, religion, nationality, political. We are all one under this one body. And one thing that this body requires is well-being. And I can teach us how to consciously be under this one well-being, where we can all understand that once this consciousness, I and my Father are one, each and every one of us will be under the law of well-being, under the law of health, under the law of sustainability. And anyone keeping us from that law, which we don't even need to worry about, because once we become one under that law will go before the body of life. And that's all each and every one of us want, beloveds. Each and every one of us just want this one thing, and that is to sustain this body, to sustain life. And this one law, this one consciousness would sustain us under the law it came to give itself life through. And we would heal, beloveds. At the beginning and at the end of each day, we want one thing, and that is life. And we want life abundantly. And I can help us, lead us all back to our promised land as one. I'm reaching out to you, all who have pool, all who have organizations, all who have churches. I'm not here to be against you. I'm not here to tell you that you have not been doing right. But when right is one in us, beloveds, each and every one of us will be sustained by a law that came to give life within this body. And before we can give life to a world outside of us, before we can conform to a world outside of us, we must understand that this law which is a state of being, must be present within the kingdom in which creates all of life, which creates all of existence. So today I'm asking you guys to share this video. It is not for my behalf. It is for our behalf under one law of life. I and my Father are one, beloveds, and we are all one under this law, and we are all one ordained under this law, and everything has already been ordained for us. Reach out. Let me help us understand this. It's just common sense, and a lot of us don't realize that common sense has never been taught to us. Because if we had common sense, and this is not to tell us that we're less than, but if we had common sense, beloveds, right now each and every one of us would be healthy. Right now each and us would be under this one law, allowing it to sustain us. Each and every one of us would be able to understand that when we came together under one living body of consciousness, this consciousness being the being that gives this human the ability right now to talk, to pump this blood through this body, and to sustain life. Nothing is sustained as life until it's living as one living body of life in this human body. As long as we got death, beloveds, there's no understanding of life. As long as we can give this body death, as long as we don't understand the root to why this body is dying, the root to why all living bodies are not under this one accord and sustained under the same law, not the law that the government makes, not the law that man makes, but the law that it made itself under its very own bloodline of existence to give this body life. And each and every one of us ordained already with this law called life. And when we all come under this one accord, this life will sustain itself in each and every one of us. So today I am reaching out to you and I'm reaching out to religions, to politics, to politicians. I am reaching out to nurses. I am reaching out to doctors. I am reaching out to anyone who has a pull, who has the authority to lead a mass of people. And I am asking you guys, because we are one under this one law. We want to call it science. We want to call it God. We want to call it Gaia. We want to call it Mother Earth. But each and every one of us ordained one under this natural law, and that natural law came to sustain this body with life. And each and every one of us ordained the promised land. How about us coming together under one accord? How about us not fighting each other anymore? How about us not using each other for votes? How about us not using each other to build a congregation? How about us not moving as individuals and just coming together this one time as one body of life? How about a movement that will allow us right now to destroy this COVID-19 and save life for this body of life? How about us coming together to understand the one thing, the root to why sickness, sin, and death has plagued this living body, this living kingdom? And how about us coming together under one law called consciousness and joining in as one living body? Beloveds, share. And I thank all of you guys who do view these videos. But until we come together under one law, life is never going to sustain us, beloveds. And right now we need each other. We have our family members. We have our communities. We have a whole collective universal pandemic right now, taking the one thing that each and every one of us has already been ordained, and that is life. I came here to give you life, and to give you life abundantly, beloveds. And when we all come together under this one truth, the truth shall set us free. And that is that this one universal law came to give life to you and I, this body. We will all allow this law to start leading us from the adversary, from what we call evil, from what we call sickness, from what we call sin, and from what we call death. And we are all guaranteed life, and life abundantly. And I've spent my whole life praying. I spent my whole life understanding this law. I've spent my whole life being an internal being and understanding how this law works, how it moves, how What you would call the adversary, what you would call the devil, keeps us blinded from this one thing, consciousness. And when we don't have the authority to rule this consciousness within its own mind, which rules matter, which means that this cell that created the body rules itself, and that we don't need any government, we don't need any laws, we don't need anything. We need to be under the one natural law that came to give itself to life, this body. Share. I need each and every one of you guys to share this video. Reach out. I am for us all under one accord called life. And I am asking you guys right now what we need. We don't need one individual. We don't need one organization. We don't need politics. We don't need religion. We need life. We need well-being, and we need sustainability. And when we come together under that one Trinity, life will take care of itself, beloveds. Mindset, everything. Right now, in order for me to have well-being, I need to be under one accord. And if I take this one accord and I'm trying to use it for mammon, how can I use it for well-being? If I take this one accord and I'm trying to use it to sustain the world, how can I use it to sustain this world that came to give that world life and life abundantly? We've taken this law and we become blinded to our very own understanding, to our very own truth. And at this present moment, you and I, who are under one accord, we are all responsible for taking this consciousness and building outside of it. Each and every one of us ordained to minister life into its own existence, not the existence that lives outside of us, but the one that came as its own conscious will to be the creators of the living image, this body. And each and every one of us right now, we can help COVID-19 stop. Each and every one of us can today start saving life in this living kingdom called the body, for one, under one law. And I just ask you, share. Share. I'm not here to come against you. I'm not here to come against life. I'm not here to come against religion. I'm not here to come against the government. But what I am here to do is to be one under this law, this natural law that came as itself. And each and every one of us has been already ordained under this one law to minister it to life, which is you and I, the body. And today, share, beloveds. Share. Share this video. Don't just let it go unheard. Don't just let it pass by. Because when God comes, He's coming universal. And when you see a pandemic come where it's reaching every body of life, God is here. He's here. He's trying to reach us on the level. He's trying to say, are you guys going to witness me this time? Are you guys going to awaken to me this time? I'm just one under law. I'm one under you, my brothers and sisters of this consciousness. And when we all come together under one accord, let me tell you, life will sustain us. We will no longer need money. We don't need money to sustain this body. What we need is this consciousness. This consciousness has created everything that we've seen outside of us, beloveds. We are the ministry to life. And when we get under one accord with this consciousness, that ministry will lead itself under one law. Do you know that when the blood flows in this one living body of life, it's a frequency and vibration? And he says, guard your heart through all of life flows. Each and every one of us, the one heart, the one heartbeat of this frequency and vibration. And under this one consciousness, we have the ability to vibrate health to this one kingdom called the body. Each and every one of us under this one consciousness, we have the ability to vibrate sustainability to this one body, which is under one law. We have the ability to reach one mind, which is the mind of all bodies. Mind is over matter, beloveds. And each day that we take this mind and this body, and we take this consciousness and we create outside of it, another body will be sacrificed. Another life will be sacrificed. Health that came to give life to this body will be sacrificed. The root to all evil is taking this consciousness outside of itself and creating it in matter before you create it in the mind that creates matter. Please reach out. Reach out, beloveds. I am not here to be against you. I'm not here to say you have not been righteous. I'm not here to say that you have not done right by us. But common sense is being in the authority, being in a position to lead. And not one living body called existence is being led in life. Not one living body that is called existence is being led in perfect health. Not one living body of life is being led in well-being. Not one living body of life is being led in sustainability under one accord. I and my Father are one. And until we wake up to this one universal law, life can't sustain itself. Health can't sustain itself. Existence cannot sustain itself in its own kingdom called the living body of life. God bless us all. And today I reach out to humanity. I reach out to this one living kingdom within heaven called consciousness. And each and every one of us are already ordained under this one natural law. And when we come together as one, we're all the promised land. Share, beloveds. And I thank all of you guys who share this video. You want to know who you are? It's me. It's you. It's I. It's we. Under one law called this living body of life. Share. If I see this video shared, if I see this video spreading, what goes viral? Not me. This body does. And it will be one under law. The one that came to give its life, give itself life, and life abundantly. For each and every one, it has already been ordained, the living body, called the human being. And when we become one being, under one law, I and my Father are one, we all rise. Not by race, not by religion, not by politics, but by life. COVID-19 has come not to kill us. It's come to awaken us. It's come to say, hey, have you ever questioned how I got here? Have you ever questioned the root of why you don't understand that because you don't have well-being, I can come in and I can be your well-being at this present time as a collective, a universal pandemic. When you don't have the authority, when you don't have the immunity to fight off something in which your blood must give life to, and you don't understand the root to all life, the root to all health, the root to all sickness, the root to all death is the blood, and you don't realize that the blood came as its own immunity for this body, and now you're allowing something outside of this body to come into this living body of immunity and destroy it, you don't have life, and you don't have life abundantly. You've broken the law within its own understanding. And until we become under one accord, we are not ordained life. We are not ordained community. And we are not ordained sustainability for each and every one of us, which we have already been ordained by a universal law called consciousness. Let's awaken each other to life. Pastors, preachers, politicians, leaders, anyone with a following, reach out. I'm not here to be better than you. I'm not here to prove you wrong. I'm here to prove us right. Each and every one of us. Surely if you eat from that tree of good and evil, we will die. And what dies, beloved? You can say that a name dies, but it's the body that's dying. This body came to give itself life and itself life abundantly. And when this body does not have life, the power of life and death is the consciousness in which we give to this body, not to our names, not to our wealth, not to anything outside of us, but this living kingdom of life. God bless us all. Share, post, reach out, message me. I am here. I'm here to lead us under one living body. And when we come together under one accord, God is for us all. There's a law that came to sustain you and I, called the body, and we deserve it. We are all worthy of it. And when we come together as one body of life, God will reign supreme. And beloveds, we will rise under spirit, which is consciousness, which is law, which is what came to ordain itself in this body. God bless us all. And each and every one of us, each one teach one. And if we don't understand what that truly means, I can help us. Because when we see what we see before us, no one's helping life. No one's helping this one law. No one's helping this consciousness awaken. When you can see male and female under this one consciousness, when you can see male and female religion, politics, everything outside of its own one being in its own body, which is the human, not under one accord, and you can call it race, religion, he, she, politics, culture, and everything, but it's one, I and my Father are one, then you know that we've all broken the commandments of life. And there is only one commandment, and that is consciousness. And when this consciousness is under one accord, called this body, life and abundant will be added on to itself. It would need no other understanding but the one it came to give itself. Mind is over matter. And every time matter is controlling mind, we've fallen from our grace, beloveds. Each and every one of us fallen from our grace. When God is not living, if God is for you, who can be against you? No one can be against God. I mean, God creates everything, which is consciousness. Consciousness creates sickness. Consciousness right now will create my laughter. Conscious right now is creating my heart to beat. Consciousness right now is creating money to have a value. Consciousness right now is creating this COVID-19 to come into this body and destroy the living body of life. One thing, I and my Father are one. And the one thing that each and every one of us is under is this consciousness. And when we come as one under law, when we understand that common sense is not you being a title, common sense is not you being a leader of a church, common sense is not you being a leader of a political system, common sense is you being one under this consciousness for this body and showing this body that it's governed under its own law of existence and that it is the being of life. And when it comes under one accord with the living body, it will be under the one accord with the existence that the body came to give life to its own reality as. Eyes to see, ears to hear, and consciousness to know each and every one of us is one under this law. And today, post, repost, reach out. I am here. I will come into your organizations. I will come into your churches. We can do a Zoom to reach out to other churches, to other communities, to other politicians, to other people, beloveds. We deserve this. One thing that we deserve is to have life and to have life abundantly. And to each and every one of us, we are all held responsible under this one mind of consciousness. And when we go outside of this consciousness, the body must pay. And it's called death. Death is universal. Life is universal. And consciousness is the one thing that will give this body life or give it death. But God, consciousness, came here to give this body life and to give it life abundantly, but under one law that we must all be under as one living body of Christ, which is just consciousness, beloveds. I apologize that we've taken this consciousness and we started to create it outside of ourselves and we don't understand this, but on any given day, at the beginning and at the end, this consciousness will always be what gives life and life to death. And when we are not one under this law of consciousness, It's always going to die to its own body. God bless us all. Share. Reach out. I am here. And beloveds, we deserve this. Each and every one of us. When we stop believing that somebody is going to take our fame, that somebody is going to take our glory, victory shall reign supreme. I love you. I'm ready and willing and able to do the one thing in which I came, and that is life and life abundant. And each and every one of us being the one body of existence. We all are ordained that same living will. Reach out. God bless us all.